You're listening to the audio portion of Workshop Wednesdays. Workshop Wednesdays is a free live discussion about topics affecting accountants, bookkeepers, and business owners. You can join the ABO group in Facebook to participate live Wednesdays at 10 a.m. Pacific Time. Just search for ABBO in Facebook. This podcast is brought to you by Schoolofbookkeeping.com, where you will learn, grow, and build a thriving bookkeeping practice. We have hundreds of lessons with almost every aspect of the industry. Start your free month today at Schoolofbookkeeping.com.
That was weird. I was waiting for it to ease us in, and it was like black, and then here we are. Is that what you saw?
I don't know.
It's never a dull moment here on the Workshop Wednesday, brought to you by Schoolofbookkeeping.com, where you can keep learning QuickBooks your way. And I hit the wrong one. There we go. Casual conversations for serious workflows. So apologize for skipping last week. We had a client fires last week. So,
Wait.
So we did.
Oh, yeah. You skipped it? I didn't realize you did.
Yeah, I just decided, we had other things going on here, and they took precedence over our time.
We had a team member baby shower, which was extremely important.
Right. You got to have those. Hopefully that was all happy times.
It was really fun. And we did, because we have a virtual firm here, so we did a virtual baby shower, and we did virtual games with real prizes, and it was a lot of fun.
Yes, hopefully it's not a virtual baby.
I hope so. It's one of those like little keychain babies that we did in the 90s where I was too old for that.
Tamagotchis.
You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah. I actually, it's funny you bring that up because we're gonna divert for a second. I found something that's very similar to that, but it's actually for self-care. So it's neat because it's same idea. The Tamagotchi, little creature that you have to take care. Yeah, you have to take care of this thing, and the way that you take care of it is by you taking care of yourself. Right. So,
okay. I fail. I take really bad care of myself.
That's the point. That was why I got interested. Is that God, I'm not living good habits. I could tell that I was letting things go, and so I saw this ad, and it was intriguing because in the ad they were like, "You need to do this. Do 5 push-ups." And then it's somebody like putting down their phone and then doing 5 push-ups, and that unlocks something.
Wow,
right?
That's really cool, actually. And there's a similar Black Mirror episode with these like little characters you take care of. I won't give it away, but definitely watch it.
Yes. No spoilers here on the workshop, except for QuickBooks spoilers.
Yeah.
And Jamie did say, based on all the symptoms, this is not a virtual baby. So she would be the one to know. This is not a virtual baby for the virtual baby shower. Before we get into our session today, which is all about, we're starting a new series, which is all about I think the dust has settled on the user interface overhaul for QuickBooks Online. So I was waiting for that to be, complete before we actually go into, the details of those things. And we're going to break it down into 4 or 5 week topics. But after that series, what we're going to do is we're going to shift doing the workshops live and streaming online to something inside of QuickBooks of School of Bookkeeping. Yes, my company. I've been struggling for the past two to 3 years trying to figure out how to best notify when we go live. And some of the things that we're talking about are general, right? And they're available or useful for the general population to watch our workshops. But what I would love to do is actually have these workshops be engaging, right? Where it's more of a question and answer sort of thing. That really doesn't work out too well when you're streaming things out on YouTube or Facebook or FaceTube or uBook, right? Out on the interwebs, right? Because there may be personally identifiable information that gets shared on these screens, and we certainly don't want to do that. Side note, I remember doing a YouTube video one time where my own social security number was on the screen.
Oops.
And it was out there for 2-3 years. Thank goodness it was not popular. Because,
You didn't have 85,000 views on that one?
yeah, I did not have a good view rate on that particular video, but certainly went through really quickly and blurred that out. And of course, didn't have a multitude of credit cards being opened in my name, which is good. So dodged the bullet there. So what we're going to do is we're actually going to broadcast or do the workshops live inside of School of Bookkeeping. So that means you'll have to register and be a member of School of Bookkeeping in order to participate in the live workshops. Now, you can still do that for free. We do have an option for you if I could find the right thing here. So there's a QR code for workshop access. It's totally free if you're not a paid member of School of Bookkeeping. But what we do after the workshops is we take them, we sweeten them up, we edit them. If you're ever watching them streaming, sometimes the volume's not right or the video's blurry or something like that. We re-edit them so that they're actually viewable. And we put them in our workshop listing inside of School of Bookkeeping. The challenge is that putting a sequence to send out emails to those that might be registered, the platform that we're using really doesn't think that's a great way to do things. So setting up a recurring email where it goes out and follow up and all that stuff, I've been trying to crack that nut for a while, and really it's just not working. So what we're going to do instead is we're going to do the workshops inside of School of Bookkeeping. We'll start that after this series. In 4 or 5 weeks or so, we'll do the workshops inside of School of Bookkeeping. But you'll just want to ensure, if you want to participate in those workshops, you want to register as a free member so that you have the workshop access. The good news is that when we go live, you'll get notified. Right?
Yeah, that's nice. And I know there's a lot of other communities that do it that way, and you register ahead of time, and rather than it just being a live stream. And that's good that you'll edit them after the fact, because what if there's a wardrobe malfunction or something like that?
Can't have that. No. Just double check here. Yes, I am wearing pants, so that's that's good. So I'm going to put the link in the chat as well for anyone watching on our streaming platforms. You can certainly use that to register for the free access for the workshops. And once that's all you have to do. And then when we do go live, when we transition over, and you'll get an automatic alert when we do go live, and then you can maybe put that on your calendar if you wanted to, or just join in, right? So we'll give that a try, and maybe you'll find us back here streaming if that doesn't work. We're not married to the way that we do things here. We're open to change. That's one thing I did learn at Intuit, is that don't get attached to the way things are being run, because they certainly can change. It's like watching The Walking Dead, right? And don't get attached to any character. The chances are one of them's going to die soon.
Oh
Or
man,
Game
I
of
never did
Thrones.
see that show, but I heard it was really good. But
Same with Thrones. Somebody would die.
Especially with just right now, I can't even tell you how rapidly everything is changing. It's just bonkers. And just the stuff that I'm keeping up with, even as it pertains to AI, is just in our industry and the software that we use. It's just so rapidly changing that it really doesn't make sense to get stuck on one thing, because you got to keep up.
Yeah, that was my question of the day, or the thought that I was thinking of for today, because there's this whole mindset or concept of accountants don't like change, but I don't think anybody likes change to a degree of, and I think it's exacerbated by the field of accounting, because I think in most cases, a lot of times your workflows are a habit of muscle memory.
Right.
I go over here, I click this. I think the 10 key is probably the best example of muscle memory to
Right.
in accounting, right? Because if you have your keyboard with a 10 key on it, your fingers end up doing the dancing in just such a way that it makes it a lot easier than, of course, having your numbers across the top of your keyboard, like when you got to sit there and search and destroy. Do you find, Rachel, that's true for more so for accountants than it would be for any other profession? Or do you feel like it really just doesn't matter? We're all creatures of habit.
I'm sure that there are certain industries in which there is no change, right? I guess if you're a ditch digger and you do it either with a shovel or with a machine, I don't know what those are called, you're always going to have to dig a ditch.
That's why you're
right?
not a ditch digger.
Yeah, there's not really a lot of variety in that, but I think a lot of people understand going to something like accounting that things are always going to change, and there's going to be updates, continuing education, things like that, new standards, etc. But I do think that rather than people don't like change, especially with accounting, I think it's the better way is people get used to doing it the way that they're doing it. And so it's not that I dislike the actual change. It's now I'm going to have to spend the time doing this.
Yeah.
And I don't really have a lot of extra time. I'm already really crappy with time management to begin with. So that's really more my issue. I actually like learning new things. So I don't so much mind the change if I'm in a good spot with time management. Now, I can't even tell you how fast everything is changing. I mean, I use now Claude for Excel in my Excel spreadsheets instead of building the formulas. Now I tell Claude, do this, and it just comes. And I check everything for sure, but just the way that we're doing that, the reason that I'm afraid of a little bit of change in that area right now is not in terms of what I can do. It's people's perception of what accounting and bookkeeping is now. Meaning they may think, oh, I can just put all this in Claude now, or I could put this all in Perplexity now and spit it out. And they're not aware that it's not right because they don't know controls and they don't know how to check themselves and they don't know even to identify what's wrong. So I'm a little worried that inaccurate data is going to get passed off as accurate data, and then we're going to have a mess going forward. So that's really my biggest fear about change. If I'm in control, just because I'm a total control freak, if I'm in control of the elements that are changing and I have a clear view on the steps, I'm okay with it. And I actually welcome it. But this to me is opening up a can of worms in terms of non-bookkeeping professionals. And you and I know, like, some of the bookkeepers out there are magicians. Not magicians, that's a bad word. I don't mean like they're creating magic. They're a whiz. They're incredible. Like some of these career bookkeepers that have been doing it 25, 30 years, and they can make sense of they could do the bookkeeping for a giant corporation all by themselves, right? They're that good. So what I'm a little worried about is that people may think that they can just AI themselves into that, and it's a true skill. And so that's what my fear is a little bit about the whole industry. My pushback is always, look, we still want to use our tools. We still want to use our accounting software. We still want to use this, that, and the other. I approached AI from, I can now add this cool thing and I can now do these things, but we still want our fundamental of how we're doing it there. And we still need reconciled financial statements. We still need accuracy with the data and then go from there. So I think that it's still super important to have a strong grasp on QuickBooks. When Intuit's making changes, we're still talking in our community, making sure that we still know how the software is changing. For now, I guess, until we do become Back to the Future where we push a button and then everything appears. I don't know. Maybe that will happen.
Yeah, it's and I think in the grand scheme of things, right, once you've chosen your profession of choice, in this case accounting and bookkeeping, right, you try to do things that you do more efficiently, right? And that's like, there is a preference in QuickBooks Desktop, going back to the example of the 10 key, right? There is a preference in Desktop to change your enter key to tab, right? So and that was a workflow efficiency option, because if your hand is resting on the 10 key, right, you can really quickly, again, with that muscle memory, while you're entering in numbers, there's an enter key also on the 10 key. So you can change that preference to be your enter key to actually be a tab, so that you, without moving your hand off of the 10 key, you then can either actually use the same hand that you're using to type the numbers, use that to tab on the 10 key, right? Because you've got the enter key, right? So I think that's and I think it reminds me of when we were at Intuit Connect and Sasan was on the stage and he was talking about the light bulb wasn't invented from the continuous improvement of the candle, right? So at some point you have to go from a candle and continuously improving and making workflow enhancements to the candle to eventually saying, okay, we need more light and we need a different way to get light. And it's not going to come from this candle anymore. It's going to come from this light bulb, which means that we have to basically break everything down. And that's what we have here in QuickBooks today. Is we have a new light bulb.
Yeah, and I don't care if the 10 key goes away. I'm not hand
Yeah.
entering numbers anymore. Sorry.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean,
Hashtag not sorry.
There's only so much that you're going to be able, so much efficiency that you're going to be able to do by manually entering in data. That's only going to get you so far. And what's the tall tale? I can't remember. The guy, the miner against the machine. I can't even remember that guy's name. It was like not Paul Bunyan, but
I don't know that story.
Not Paul Bunyan. It's like and it's not Jesse Owens. There's like an Owens something in there. If anybody knows Henry, yes, John Henry. John Henry, yes.
John Henry.
John Henry. He was the miner, and they brought in a machine, and then it was the man versus machine thing, right? Of course, he worked and so hard he died. So what's the lesson there?
Yeah.
So that's where we're at here, is that we've got a new light bulb inside of QuickBooks Online because they've changed the entire overview or the entire user interface more so than what it was before.
Yeah, and also, not to interrupt you, but even just to say this, is that now the landscape is so cluttered and so overpopulated, it's overwhelming. And it's almost better to really focus on being a master of something rather than a master of none, or what do you call it? Like
jack of all trades,
a jack of all trades, but a master of none. I don't know. Now I'm like, the sheer volume of things out there, it's giving me fatigue. So you have to say, look, I'm going to pick these few things and really become an expert. And that's the way I do it.
Yeah. And I think that is a good approach, because we can get fatigued pretty easily by, especially if you're at an accounting conference and you go down to the exhibition floor, and then there's, what about this one? What do they do? What?
Even coming back from Chop Talk, I am now talking to this app that they do returns that sync really well in with things, but it also has an IMS. It also has a full general ledger. It also has this. And I'm like, oh my gosh, stop already. I'm not going to switch a whole system over to something else. I don't know. It's a lot.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I was just talking to somebody about, they're on QuickBooks Online, and they're entertaining going back to QuickBooks Desktop for the sole reason of intercompany transfers. Being able to do, and so, yes, you can do intercompany transfers in QuickBooks Desktop, but that could actually bring up all sorts of other hidden problems.
Yeah.
If that's the thing that you're solving for. Now, there's a cost aspect, right? Because they've got 4 QuickBooks Online companies. They would only have one enterprise subscription. So they may be thinking, okay, we could save some money and have more functionality at the same time. But that comes from a perspective of someone who has never converted their data from online to desktop to potentially have all of the surprises that come along with that. So my suggestion was, if that's what's driving you, look for a solution that allows you to do intercompany transfers. And guess what? Intuit Enterprise Suite might be the best option for you, because it caters to multiple entities, and the intercompany transfers is one of the things that works really well.
Do it correctly. Or that.
Exactly. Exactly. And you can also build in automations with that, because in online, you're going to have that ability. Maybe add something and configure something into Zapier or something like that. You're on a platform that will cater to some of those things greater than going back to desktop. Now,
yes,
that certainly could be the case. It may not be. There's more to the story with that. So well, I'll keep you posted. Okay, so let's launch QuickBooks Online. This is now the most stable option that we have. So the biggest thing that the first thing we want to talk about is some of the terminology changes in this user interface change. And the biggest thing is apps and integrations, right? The old interface apps used to represent third-party applications that integrate into QuickBooks. And now the apps themselves are dealing with the QuickBooks apps. So these apps are applications or things that you can do inside of QuickBooks. So you'll see them here in the All Apps section. You will have pinned apps along the left side that will be more common that you might use. You can customize them on the left side to be able to put the apps that you do use on a more regular basis. You can pin the ones that you use regularly, but these are the groupings of workflows or of specific transactions. So you can reorder them here. So if you want to put the customer hub above the accounting hub, then you can do that, right? So now your customers are listed now above accounting, right? So the terminology of apps is the biggest glossary, I guess, is the best way to describe about that. So then the question is, what happened to apps?
yeah.
Where
It's
did
just really confusing. Why couldn't they have used a word like widget or something like that? You know what I
Yeah,
mean? I don't know.
I'm sure there were probably several focus groups and how they ended up on the word app. Because as a fun fact, the apps.com, like if you go to apps.com, that's actually QuickBooks' app marketplace, right? So
Yeah,
a small
right.
oversight in the Apple ecosystem that they didn't buy apps.com and Intuit has it. But so they still use the word app, right? And here it says it's an app marketplace. So it's not consistent. An app is an app. There's a lot to comb through for sure. But inside of QuickBooks, all apps represents workflow groupings, right? So you have the apps here on the left side as well as across the top. And I just noticed that they mirror the order in the customization, right? So if I just move this up here and I don't pin it, I hit refresh, now my sales tax is up here. So that's an interesting way to group your apps up here at the top, so you can sort them there. Now, third-party applications, in the apps that we used to think of, right?
Oh,
Is
and by the
now
way, PS, the ones that every other piece of software still calls apps.
Mhm,
So it's not, there isn't confusion with that too.
right. Yeah, terminology across third-party applications. That's another story. That's like a bigger fish to fry. That's another workshop. But if you go up here to this little icon, it's supposed to be, I think, two computers talking to each other. This at the global bar across the top. That's where you find your integrations, and then you can click on Find Integrations. And this is where you get the apps that you would be getting over here at the app marketplace.
Mhm.
So the terminology is really the first thing to, to make sure that you understand. And that's the biggest change in the two. This other change, the terminology in the past, we had a toolbox for accountants that had this icon of the briefcase here in the upper right or upper left. That moved from the top bar here to this My Menu, right? So that's another terminology change. This is solely for accountants. Regular users don't have this little briefcase, but it's the same icon. It's just now called, instead of Accountant Tools, it's just called My Menu. And you can customize that as well. Whoops, let's not make it too big for can't see.
Yeah, I really like that everything is customizable.
Yes.
And it's not tiny little print.
Exactly. Yes. So you have those options there. So you can customize the sections that you see. And within those sections, you can add your favorites and bookmarks and sort them. That's what these icons or these dots. I don't know. Why do some have 3 dots and then this has 6 dots? I guess 3 is like the universal symbol for there's more.
Yeah.
There's a sub menu.
It always looks like this when it's a rearranger thing.
Yeah.
And I am so sorry, Dan, but I do have to leave. Unfortunately,
Okay.
I sent you a chat, but I have to leave. I have 2 minutes, but then I have to run. We have an internal thing we have to go over.
Yep. We won't take too much longer than what we have here, but I understand if you have to jump off, duty calls, whether you're doing the live stream or not.
Yeah, sorry about that. Yeah,
No problem.
I've got 2 minutes, but I'll let you finish up on what you're doing.
So you can customize the bookmarks. You can customize the create section as well as the tools. And inside the bookmarks, you can bookmark any page. So if you want to add the App Center as a bookmark, you certainly can. Now it's a bookmark.
By the way, you're on the integration page, and I'm seeing Wix. I'm seeing WooCommerce.
Yep.
Now, is this the App Store or are these app transactions?
These are free integrations built by QuickBooks, which ultimately end up going into the app store or the app.
Yeah, because it looks a little different than typically.
Well, if we go over here, it's got featured apps built by it's just organized differently. So
yeah,
this is
normally you couldn't see those in QuickBooks before. You had to go to the App Store. The only ones that you could see were the ones that were under app transactions.
Gotcha. Yeah, I think
where now it's actually bringing recommended integrations in from the App Store.
Very good.
Yeah, this is very different. Okay, cool.
And then you do have this little icon here for feed is the business feed, and this is the home page for AI. So depending on the version that you have, you may see different things here on the business feed, but this is where you're going to see things AI related, dealing with your QuickBooks. Reports obviously is going to take you to the report section, and then we have our all apps. So we kind of worked up from the bottom up here on the left side, and it can be expanded. So once you do look at something, let's say we're going into projects, for example, this ends up giving the international symbol of the hamburger button, because that's what this is for. Instead of 3 dots, we have hamburger buttons, which is horizontal, but that will expand things. And this is a good best practice. I learned this from Alicia Katz-Pollock, that if you click on this, rather than trying to hover over and get to things, once you click on something, that side menu shows up, and then you can expand it with the hamburger button, and now it just stays there. So you can use
very
this as a way to
cool.
get around a little better than trying to find your way. But you have other options, and that's one of the hallmarks of Intuit. There is not just one way to do things inside of QuickBooks. There's plenty of different ways to get around. Once you find something, you can put it as a bookmark or put your favorites in there. And then, we didn't talk about the Quick Create, which is was the plus new button, is now Create.
Now it says Create.
So you have all that.
I do have to go, but Dan, I just realized I can't because I have to end the stream, right?
No, I can do it.
Okay. All right. I'm so sorry, everybody. Have a wonderful rest of your day.
All righty. And actually, we're gonna wrap it up here today. Next time, we're gonna be talking about the global search up here at the top. But today we wanted to talk about just the major changes and the left side navigator. So we will see you next time on the Workshop Wednesday.
And that wraps up another insightful episode of Workshop Wednesday, brought to you by Schoolofbookkeeping.com. We hope you enjoyed today's discussion and took away some valuable tips and strategies to enhance your bookkeeping practice. Remember, if you want to stay ahead in the world of bookkeeping and accounting, be sure to visit Schoolofbookkeeping.com. With a wide range of courses, resources, and expert guidance, you'll find everything you need to sharpen your skills and boost your career. Don't forget to subscribe to our podcast on your favorite platform so you never miss an episode. And if you enjoyed today's show, please take a moment to leave us a review on your podcast platform of choice. Your reviews help us reach more listeners and continue to bring you the best content every week. If you have questions or topics you'd like us to cover, reach out to us on social media or send us an email at support@schoolofbookkeeping.com. We love hearing from our listeners and are always looking for new ideas to explore. Thanks for tuning in to Workshop Wednesday. Until next time, keep learning, keep growing, and keep excelling in your bookkeeping journey. I am Dan DeLong, and we'll see you next time.